and welcome to Ginger Welsh Allotments. I am Bethan and it's a gloriously sunny day here. It's Easter Sunday and it's a bit deceptive because the weather's so sunny. You kind of think, oh, I should have this in and I should have that in, and then you've got to remind yourself that actually, no, we'll probably have a frost next week, so don't go getting ahead of myself. But what I have done today is got the last of my asparagus in. It's taken me longer than I thought it would, and I'll talk you through how I did it in a minute. I bought 3 varieties online in a collection, so I got 18 crowns, 3 varieties, 6 varieties of each. So I got Stewart's Purple, or Purple Stewart, I can't remember which way round it is. I'll put it on the screen now. Ta-da! And I got Pacific 2000, and I also got Ginlim, I think it's pronounced, but I don't know how it's pronounced. I looked for pronunciation and I couldn't find it anywhere. So I'm going to say Ginlim, and I'm very sorry if I've pronounced it wrong. So to begin with the asparagus, I weeded the area thoroughly at the end of autumn or the beginning of winter, and then I laid cardboard down for the whole of the spring and the winter to stop any weeds coming back. And when I took the cardboard off, there wasn't many perennial weeds under there, but when I was digging out the trenches, I found an awful lot of bindweed, which isn't great, but that's just what you have to live with, isn't it? This site has a lot of bindweed and thistles. Those are our weeds that are come back all the time. So I pulled out as many as I could, but I think there's still some lurking underneath. And then I got to build in my trench, or dig in my trench rather. So that took me a couple of mornings to dig out the trench. And then I filled it with well-rotted manure. And then I lay the asparagus crowns in the trench on top of the well-rotted manure. And I'll show you where they are now. Here are my 2 asparagus trenches. Now they look slightly different because the one on the left, I didn't sieve the soil, and the one on the right, I did sieve the soil. And I'm really annoyed with myself for not thinking to sieve the soil on the first one. It was only because I've been using the spill left over from these trenches to put into a raised bed. And to put it into the raised bed, I started sieving it, and then I realised just how much, well, I can show you now, how many stones are in it. So I'm really annoyed with myself now because I've put all these stones on top of these asparagus crowns. And this side, the soil is lovely and sieved and it's beautiful. So I shall now have to do a comparison to see if the sieved soil is better or the sandy rocky soil is better. I wonder which one will produce the best. I shall let you know in about 2 years' time. I did plant asparagus about 2 years ago. Well, my dad planted it for me, but I didn't prepare the ground very well at all. And I'll show you now, it's all really weedy, and there's no sign of any asparagus coming up. I did have asparagus last year, but I didn't harvest it because it hadn't been in the ground for 2 years at that point. And then my husband trimmed it. So I don't think it's going to come back, but I'll show you where it is at the moment, and I'll show you what I'm planning to do with it if it comes up. So here is the extremely weedy patch of asparagus. It's basically a row all along there, and I didn't really think it through when I said to my dad to plant it here, because it's too close to the rhubarb and it's too close to the blackberries. So I wanted to move it anyway, but as you can see, there's no sign of any asparagus poking through, and I did put these sticks in place to show me where I should be specifically looking, and there was a stick back here somewhere, but that got lost, it got kicked or something. So I did try to uncover this asparagus plant, which is why it's been weeded, but I couldn't see any asparagus spears poking through anywhere. So I think what I'll do is I'll weed the rest of this area, and then if nothing comes up in by the end of May, I'll just put the black fabric down to create the path that I was planning to put here anyway. And if anything does come up, I have hello Shadow, I have got a bit more space here. I've got all this space here as well, but I'm thinking now that I might put another raised bed in there for whatever overspill of plants I have this year. So yeah, that's what I'm planning to do. So I'll keep this area free at the moment until I decide whether I'm going to transplant this asparagus or whether it's just going to be those 18 crowns that I planted yesterday and today. So that's it from me for today. The crowns that I bought, I meant to mention this earlier, the crowns that I bought, I should be able to harvest them next year. They should be ready for harvesting next year. But what I'll do is I'll just take a very small harvest next year, just to allow them to sink their energy back into the roots, and then the year after, hopefully, if they come up, I should get a decent harvest. But of course, I'll let you know as I go on. So that's it from me for today. I hope you've enjoyed my little tutorial on how to plant asparagus, and my unexpected experiment as to whether rocky soil or finely sifted soil is going to be the best bedfellow for my asparagus. All I can say about that is lovely job!